Hey everybody, I'm super excited. Today we're rolling over to Asheville, North Carolina, and I'm meeting up with Daniel Klein, the CEO, founder, mastermind behind Port City Amps. I'm Joe Lombardi, and this is Strikes and Strings.
We got Isaac Haddon here. Is it Haddon or Hayden?
It's Haddon.
Haddon. Okay, cool. Got my friend Joe. We just did an awesome video segment. His lovely wife Laura, Laura, and we are just having some fun here. And got my nags. Got a Rhett Scholl's Granville that I'm going to be dropping off to him soon.
Oh, nice.
We got a 1x12 OS Wave cabinet in the new brown, smooth brown Tolex with white piping. And got some pedals. I think he was using the Sahana drive and the Gain of Thorns pedals at certain times. And yeah, nice flip-flops. Hey, I'm wearing flip-flops too. Hey, we're flip-flop friends. Yeah, we are Asheville. All right. Joe, how are you, man?
Good, man. Great to see you.
Thanks for coming up, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
I haven't seen you since the amp class.
Yeah.
I love this shirt. So
Thanks. Yeah, like I said, it needs to come with a dimmer switch so we can just tune it down a little bit.
Yeah.
So I'm with Daniel Klein with Port City Amps. He builds some amazing custom amps that are hitting the scene and being played by some famous people. I'm not going to drop any names right now, but one or two people I'd actually like to meet myself and interview. So he's my way in.
Okay, I'll see what I can do. We'll see how this works out first.
Yeah. If it bombs, then forget about it. So when did you start building amps, and what motivated you to do that?
Well, I was a professional musician for 11 years. Taught music, and I music theory and guitar. And then I realized that I didn't want to ride around in a van that smelled like socks, farts, and weed. So I decided that I needed a change. And I had two friends that had recently acquired a company called Mojo from California, and they supply transformers, capacitors, resistors, things like that. And I just swung by their shop one day, and I was like, hey, what's going on? And they pretty much offered me a job on the spot. And so that got me into the world of the at least the builder's circle, you know? And from there I started learning. And one of the really cool things about that is working the phones at a place called Mojo, and this was, over 20 years ago. This is before a lot of online ordering, took it into place, Yeah, it was 2004, I believe. And I would get these calls from these world-renowned amp builders, and they would place their orders, just through me. I want this, and I want this, and I want this, and like legitimate, like Mount Rushmore of builders. Wow. And I would be able to pick their brain, and I was like, so why are you using this electrolytic capacitor here? Like, oh, well, I like this because X, Y, and Z. And so I got these little unique insights that I was able to put together, coupled with the fact that one of the owners of Mojo, who is just, talk about knowledgeable. He's amazing. He's ghost built more amps than I can name right now in 30 seconds that you would know. He's designed and like he's legit. So part of the plan was he would kind of mentor me. And so he really helped me build some of my first amps. And after about 2 years working with them, which was a great experience, nothing bad to say about Mojo, I'm still friends with all of them. I went out on my own, and that was 18 years ago, and I've been doing it ever since.
Wow. You and here you're based in Asheville?
Well, originally we started in Wilmington, hence the name Port City Amps, because Wilmington, North Carolina is known as the Port City. Also, it played in with our cabinet design, which is ported, so there was a little play on words there. Yeah. And so once my son was born and we had some life changes, we moved from the coast inland, and we eventually found ourselves in Asheville, and we've been here for 13 years now, and it's home.
Wow.
So,
did you you were affected by the hurricane?
Definitely, yeah. We were without power for over 30 days, and we were without water for 3 months.
Wow.
Yeah. The Swannanoa River is normally about 30 feet wide, and at one particular section in Swannanoa, it was over 3,000 feet wide. We had just minor damage, and we, not to get overly, it's difficult. We had one of our neighbors that passed away because the moisture around here just really, everything that was on a hill or a slope that didn't have the engineering to withstand that. So one of our neighbors here who lives in a trailer, the house above them came off of their stilts, and it crushed our neighbor. And then we've got at the very bottom of our hill, we have a wonderful family with 2 little girls, and they're still homeless. So it was tragic, but I will tell you, the spirit of Western North Carolina, I've seen so much good and love come from other people. It's a blessing in disguise. It was definitely a hardship, and but I've seen people come together in a really unique way, and that was also where I think the political landscape really reached its fervor, from October prior to the election, and we missed all of that. Like no one was focused on what side of the aisle are you on, or who do you vote for, what's your bank account, it was, you are my neighbor, how can I help?
Right.
And man, it's so, I mean, it's, as a community, I really couldn't ask for anything more as a citizen. So my wife and son and I were able to help and volunteer, and everyone just chipped in and we got through it together.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, I was able to, I have two business partners, and one of them had a warehouse, or has a warehouse in Spartanburg. And so I was able to kind of relocate on a temporary basis there, had a little air mattress, and was able to, you know, they had running water and power, so it was a dream. And while my family was in the Red Roof Inn, I was able to work from there. So production still, it was slowed down, but we were still able to make it work.
Speaking of production, how many different models do you build right now?
So great question. So right now we offer 4 different amplifiers, but those can be configured in a head or in a combo. All right, so we have our Pearl, which is our classic clean pedal platform. I mean, just a ridiculously clean amp, sounds great at low volumes, just inhales pedals. That's definitely our best seller. And then we have our Tweed style amp that was based off of a Fender Harvard, which I think is the best tweed amp on the market, or in history, in my opinion. It's my favorite. So we have that, the merino's there. Merino is another word for tweed, if you didn't know.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
How about that?
Like a merino coat, you know? So yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
And then we have the Anzu, which is our dual channel amp. And we had been asked to build a dual channel for many years, but the one thing with the dual channel that I think is difficult, at least in the market, is I feel like a lot of people with dual channels, they tend to focus on the gain channel more than the clean. You know, there are a lot of really great higher gain amps that have amazing gain and lead chunk, crunch channels, but the clean is very, I'll just say, anemic. It just doesn't sound warm. And so when we did it, someone basically said, look, can you make your Pearl or clean amp in one side, and then the second channel to be a really higher gain crunch lead channel? It's like, man, challenge accepted. So we did that. So that's what we call our Anzu. And Anzu is a mythical creature that can breathe both water and fire. And so we thought that really works with that.
Yeah.
So we've got the Pearl, we've got the Anzu, and then we've got the Merino, and we've also got the Granville. And this is our collaboration with Rhett Scholl. He doesn't want it to be called a signature amp. He just wants to have it, collaboration. So this is the one that we offer right now. And he actually wanted me to get these back and retrofit it with reverb. So very cool sounding amp. I will say, to my knowledge, this is the only amp made today that not only has all octal tubes in it, so old 6S7s, 6SJ7s, 6SL7s, but it's the only amp that I'm aware of, and if there's something out there, let me know, that has 5 transformers in it.
Oh, dang.
This thing is as lush and as warm as you can possibly get. So all tube reverb and tremolo. It's got a 2-band EQ and then just a single volume. So Rhett and I had known each other for a while, and a lot of companies go after Rhett because he's got 600,000 YouTube subscribers and whatnot. And
he's one of my favorite.
Oh, he's
YouTubers.
Great. He's a great player, great guy. Yeah. And I just, years ago said, hey, if you ever want to do anything together, just let me know. He said, okay. I just don't have any place where we would really start off. So not right now. I was like, cool, no worries. I'm not a twist the arm kind of guy. You know me, I'm not a high pressure dude,
No, you lay back.
Yeah, for sure. I just believe if anything is going to happen, it's going to happen organically and not to force things. So it was probably 6 or 7 years after that, I get a call from Rhett from Germany. Like, from Germany. He's like, dude, I found out what I want. I was like, okay. He's like, I think I played the best sounding clean amp I've ever heard of before. And I was like, what is it? It's a Gibson GA40T.
You're talking about an old one.
Old one from from 1948.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, not being familiar with that circuit.
And that's not a high powered amp either.
No, it's not. 30 watts.
Yeah.
And he was like, I think this is the foundation or the chassis that we can build on, And he said, so, can we can you at least start investigating this? And it was a couple weeks going by, looking at the schematic, looked at what he wanted to do as far as the different types of modifications, because he and I aren't interested in doing anything like a straight clone, you know?
Right.
It's always about pushing the boundary and moving things forward. So several weeks went by, I was able to show him a prototype, and he was like, we're almost there. And so went back, did a couple more things, and then I dropped it off when they were doing some studio work before a run, and then he shot his YouTube video about the Granville, and he shows about the sound check and how happy he is with it, and they were just absolutely thrilled with it. So that was the version without reverb. So now that we have a reverb, I don't know if we're going to re-release it or just keep it as it is. So I'm going to leave that up to Rhett, and we'll see what happens. But either way, you know, you can get this.
So it sounds like I love the organic approach, and you would take that approach with, if you have somebody calling you to build a custom amp for them, I mean, you're going to look into how they play and, you know, what kind of dynamics they're looking for, kind of like a Dumble thing, like that's what Dumble
For
did,
sure, yeah.
and
So,
nobody else does that.
Well, I believe ultimately, you know, if you put your customers first, even if they don't end up being your customers, I've had people call me and they say, I want this, and I want this. And I tell them, I can make that happen, but my friend, name that company, already has that, you know? Just do that, you know, that's as good of an, I mean, I don't think I could do any better than that particular circuit, you know? So like, I've put people, you know, onto my friends and my competitors, and I'm a rising tide raises all boats kind of a guy. And
me too.
In every single case where I've done that, 2 to 3 years later, their taste changed just a little bit, and they call back and they say, I know that I can trust you because you actually talked me out of giving you money. You know, this is what I want now. Can you help me? And now I'm like, oh yeah, we do have a 2-channel, or we do have a Merino that we can put you in, you know, or we have our custom shop now, which is much more flexible into what we can do. Whereas before we really didn't have a lot of capability, but we do now because we've got some advanced tooling, you know, from laser engravers, you know, punch dies, and then some custom aluminum chassis. So we can do a one-off at a reasonable cost, whereas we didn't really have that before.
Yeah.
So when people approach me with, I want, you know, this, but I'm not sure about this, I usually just sit down and say, okay, what are your 3 favorite guitars? I just asked you that.
You did.
Okay. Then I ask you, what's your 3 favorite amps? Then I ask, what are your favorite speakers? What are your not favorite speakers? Because everyone that's plugged into a cabinet and went, oh, that is not the speaker for me. And I want to know why. What did you hear? Was it something in the higher upper mids that just cut too hard on your ear that made it harsh? Was it something a little bit flubby in the low ends? So, and then I ask, what are some of your biggest influence sound-wise? You know, are you really into David Grissom? Are you into John Mayer? Are you into, you know, Kirk Hammett? Just buy a wall pedal for Kirk Hammett, you'll be good. So, I love Kirk, so I shouldn't say that. You know, who are your influences? And then I like to get down to specific recordings, you know, like I want this on this album. You know, I've had people say, I want literally, you know, they'll be like, this Kurt Weill record, song number 6. There's a lead on this, I want it, you know?
Yeah.
And so I'll put it through a spectrum analyzer and find out what's going on, and then find out what he used for the recording. You know, I was a jazz master through a high watt, you know, to a 2x12, you know, cabinet made by Fender with JBLs in it. Cool, now I know what we can do. Then we go into the nuts and bolts of it. So I literally just got off the phone 2 days ago with a guy who is wanting a custom build, and he knew he wanted it to be 20 watts, but he also wanted, you know, some unique features. And then he gave me 3 sound samples and of various bands that he liked. And from that, we totally redid his entire thing. So he wanted something, you know, he thought he wanted 6L6s. And every single sample that he had used EL84s. And so what we did is we met in the middle with the 6V6 because the 6V6 compresses in a very similar way than the EL 84s, but it's still got a little bit more bottom end, like a 6L6. So we're now building that amp for him, and it's going to turn out to be really fun.
Wow.
Another thing I always ask is, what is your signal chain? What does your board look like? How loud are you playing, and who are you playing with? For instance, if you're a praise and worship player and you're having to, go in with a choir and an organ, and 7 other, people who are occupying similar frequencies, I'm going to urge you to maybe go a little bit brighter or a little bit darker. Most likely brighter especially if you're playing with an organ or a Hammond player, because there's so much low frequency in that. So it really is the matter of the application. So sometimes what we'll do is, let's say they've got a praise and worship gig, and then they've also got their own little pop or rock band. I'll have just the normal settings, but I'll add a bright switch, and then I'll have like a mid boost switch.
Okay.
So you can actually tailor it for the show or the occasion. So
that's a good point, because a lot of musicians, that if they've never been on the other side of like what happens in a recording studio for tracking stuff, and every instrument lives in a kind of a certain space on the sound spectrum.
Yep.
And if you don't want the guitar trying to cover the same bass frequencies as the bass guitar,
absolutely,
and it just gets muddy, and that's why you have high pass filters and stuff like that. But if everybody's in their sonic space, then
think of it like overlapping Venn diagrams.
Yes.
If you can have that to where everything links together, and any kind of professional engineer when it comes to mixing will tell you that you need to be isolated to certain frequencies to really pop out. And that's why I think the most valuable tool you can have as a guitar player on your board is at least a 10-band EQ pedal. That way you can really tailor everything to not only the room, because Joe, you and I have played a ton. So like, some rooms are really dark, some rooms are really bright. And if you have maybe a 3-band EQ and an amp with a bright switch like a Pearl, sometimes you can really fix that. But sometimes you just need to cut that 1K frequency down a little bit, And so those types of really minute measurements and cuts really can make you stand out in the mix. And I can promise you, if you do that, your stage manager or band director is going to love you for life.
And the sound engineer that's running the show.
Yep.
But I know one person that I just love to death, Tom Bukovac.
Oh yeah.
Uncle Larry, he talked about, and Tim Pierce too, talked about, the secret pedal besides the ODR1 is the Boss EQ pedal, and then he showed on one of his videos a great video, pedal video, of all the different sounds he could get just from that one pedal.
Yep.
And it's just amazing. So people don't realize how important the frequencies are. If you can, and let me ask you this, on an amp, what frequencies are happening as far as the bass, the mid, the treble? Whereabouts are they?
Well, see, that depends on the cabinet you're using, the speaker that you're using, the volume that you're playing the amp, and the room. So it's different. Traditionally, the guitar is between 80 hertz and roughly 5K. Now, you can put a bright switch and get to the 5 and 7K and whatnot, but that's kind of the normal playground. Now, obviously, with 7 and 8 string guitars, you can go much lower than that.
I didn't know if on your amps, if you have a set
no, I like to have
boost frequency, or you change them up? Or?
I don't, because I like to have a really nice workable range, kind of the Goldilocks zone. That's what I call it.
Okay.
To where pretty much at noon, it's good. Everything should sound right, but you've got the ability to boost or cut depending on where that knob is resting. And again, another big thing is, how close are you to the amp?
Yeah.
You know, are you right up on it? So those high
Sure.
frequencies are going to get your ear faster, or are you really far away? And it's, you know, you've got, again, that Hammond player with a, you know,
With
a
the
rotor,
Leslie,
with
yeah.
a Leslie, and you're just like, you really can't hear anything. So everything's different. Are you having in-ears? Again, the speakers that you're using, because if you're using Alnico compared to ceramic to neodymium, all of those are going to have a different frequency response,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
So that's why I think to limit yourself to, it needs to be this, you know, like
Right.
mids need to be right here. I think we need to put in our amps the ability to really tailor to the other variants to get you where you want to be.
Yeah.
And that's a personal decision. And I would never say that highs need to be here and implement my personal preference
Right.
on the other players, because ultimately this
makes
is
sense.
this is what I want for every single piece of my gear. I want my art, and this is what I view all of my work and everyone who works for me is art. My art to be an instrument so that you can make your art better. That's all I want. And that's about variety and giving you the most sonic options without overloading you. You know, buyer paralysis if you have so many options.
I agree. Like a lot of, and this comes to, it's going to get to a question I want to ask you, but like a lot of pedals have, you know, menus that are like 5 deep.
Yeah.
And I guess if you have time to sit around and play with, but I have to have knobs, and it just needs to be, I don't want to sit there and go through all the menus, especially in a live environment. It doesn't work at all.
You want to scroll through things
Yeah,
when your band director says,
Yeah.
you know, you need to cut 800, you know,
Yeah.
hertz. Like, that's never going to happen.
No.
Like, I guarantee you he's going to go back and want you to change that rig or change the guitar player.
Right, you got to be able to do, I mean, just.
You need to be able to go like
Yeah.
this, and then
Boom.
you're in. You're
Yeah.
good to go.
Yeah.
So, absolutely.
So where does everything stand with Port City amps and like the big Tonex movement,
sure.
where, you know, amp modeling, pedal modeling, rig modeling?
Sure, that's a really good question. I will have to say that because IRs are such a big thing,
Yeah.
we actually have an IR of our 2x12 oversized wave cabinet that you can buy. It's $7 through the
Oh,
website.
cool.
So if
Cool.
you know, we've got a lot of people using that.
So if
and
you can't get your hands on the real thing yet,
get an IR,
Yeah.
and so we've got that. And regarding the modeling of our amps, I'm very open to that, but at the moment, to do that properly would cost so much money up front. Right now, it's just not it's prohibitive. You know, we're just not able to do that. I'm open to it, but we'll see. You know, here's my take on this, and both of us have a little age on us. You know, we're not the youngest tools in the shed. All right.
All right. What are you talking about, man? Come on.
You don't look a day past 34.
Oh,
so.
hey, I love you, man. Thank you.
Plus 17. No. So we had records, then we got cassettes, and then we got CDs,
yeah.
then we got MP3s,
Yeah.
and now what is everyone going back to?
Vinyl, records.
That's
yeah.
it. So, I mean, if you haven't listened to Dark Side on the Moon on vinyl, you
haven't lived.
No. You just haven't really heard it as they intended it. That's all
Right.
I'm saying. So, in the same way that a lot of younger players have never played through a tube amp,
It just blows my mind.
that's okay
Yeah,
because
it's
they're able
okay.
to do their
Sure.
thing.
Sure.
But when they do, it's such a unique experience.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like a photograph of something versus having the real thing right in front of you. You know, and so
Well, it's a perfect analogy. It's like having a black and white photo and then having that same photo in color.
Yeah.
That's the amount of difference, because you're hearing a clone or a copy or an emulation of said amp,
Yeah.
and then you hear the actual amp.
yeah.
So yeah.
So, you know, and I totally get it. If I was doing fly dates, you know, I would probably have, you know, some kind of digital modeler, you know, quad cortex or something like that. You know, all of that stuff is useful. It's a tool.
Right, another
And
tool.
and so
to
I
get
don't
the
put any of that
musician, yeah.
down. You know, I know the people at Fractal. I mean, they've been very, very good to me. I used to have one for years and years. I have friends that use Kempers. I have friends that have the Tonex stuff. It's all great. It's a different thing. But our clientele primarily is not that demographic. And that's okay. That's cool. For those of you that are watching, Joe attended our first ever amp class in Charlotte, and he did a phenomenal job. I'm not just saying that because his wife is here, but he did a really good job. One of the things that I learned is that, well, I've always known that 5E3 boards inside that small chassis, because this is a 5E3 chassis, and the board is normally roughly this size. So when you put in a board like that, there's just not a whole lot of space, and you've got your potentiometers here, you got your sockets here. It's just a very inefficient way to go about it. And so I was trying to think about how we could possibly rectify that situation. And so I went ahead and redesigned the entire board in a more linear fashion. And so this is now the new board that we're going to be using for our amp class. I won't go in here because I haven't drained these caps, so they are alive. But you can see how it's just much cleaner. It's about 1.3 inches across. And then we've got everything right here. And this thing is quiet as can be. It's phenomenal. It sounds fantastic. And it's just so much easier to navigate. You can see the lead dress. You can just do things that a whole lot cleaner than you would if the board was just kind of rubbing up against this. And it's just a better looking layout aesthetically. Again, it's totally quiet, and this is going to be our board from this point forward. In any of the builds that we have, like a 5F1 in the future, we're probably going to employ this technique just to make sure that when we're using these period-specific chassis, that we have the most enjoyable building experience, especially for those that are new doing this. So the Port City Amp Building Seminars are very, very special, and it's something that I've had a great deal of joy in developing. Whenever I'm at trade shows, or if I'm out at concerts or at dealers, I have a lot of people who make the comment, "Oh, I could never do what you do." And I just think that is absolutely false. I think anyone could do what I'm doing when it comes to building amps. It just takes the time, the attention to detail, and the knowledge. And that's what we're really trying to help people achieve, is in these 2-day seminars, you're going to get 20 hours of hands-on intensive education. And this is not a paint-by-numbers system in any way, shape, form, or fashion. In fact, the first 2 hours are primarily dedicated to learning about the basics of electronics and also amplifiers, the parts they're made of, things like resistors, capacitors, transformers, tubes. And so we're really able to utilize all of those different items, breaking them down, how they work together, the different types of resistors, capacitors, tubes, and whatnot, because there is such a great variety in that. So you're going to have a fundamental knowledge of how these items operate and how they interact with others. Additionally, we're going to learn about how to read a wiring diagram, and also we're going to have an entry-level schematics lesson to where you'll be able to look at a basic schematic and identify all of the primary components and the signal flow. And that's something that I don't think any other amp class offers at this point, at least not that I'm aware of. It's really nice that we can share our near 20 years of building world-class amplifiers with the attendees of these seminars. And at the moment, we're keeping them relatively small. Most class sizes are limited to just 6. And that's so we can spend a good amount of time with each student, making sure that they're not only doing the right things, but they're also wiring correctly, their soldering is correct, and that way they're going to leave with a better product than if they didn't have that attention to detail and assistance from myself. So even if you've never picked up a soldering iron before, you have no idea what a transformer, a resistor, or capacitor looks like or how it functions, this class is for you. Let us spend 2 days, 20 hours of hands-on education to really elevate your knowledge of how amps function And that'll give you the basis to mod other amps that may be in your collection, fix other amps, or even build other kits if you catch the bug. We're really looking forward to expanding this as well. Right now we're doing the 5E3 Tweed Deluxe. In the future, we're going to be using our classes to be able to build the 1164 Princeton Reverb circuit, the 2203 JCM 800 circuit, and then also the JTM 45 circuit as well. So that's going to be very, very fun. A lot of questions I get about the class are, do I need to bring any of my own tools? And of course, if you have your own soldering station or pliers or whatnot that you feel comfortable with, you can absolutely bring them. That's fine. But we offer a complete workstation with every single tool that you will possibly need to build this amp from start to finish. So all of the tools are provided, and there's no prerequisites at all, just a good attitude. And it's always interesting to see the class dynamic. We walk in as relative strangers to each other, and at the end of the 2 days, we're fast friends, all of us. So you can meet some new friends and gain some new skill sets, and it's really a fun time. Another feature of this class is that we are featuring the different modifications that can be done within this 5E3 amp. And so we're going to focus, once everyone's done, all of the testing has been completed and all the amps are functional, we're going to go over the top 3 amplifier mods and discuss in detail how you can tweak that circuit to make that amp something specific and unique to you. So that's another really unique selling offer for this class, because it's not a paint by number system. It's a true educational experience. And then beyond that, we're going to teach you how to mod the amp, which again makes this amp really something special to you. And then after that, we have obviously stay in touch with each other, and then there are going to be discounts for returning clients who want to go ahead and continue onto the harder classes. So furthermore, we held our first class in Charlotte, and our second class was in the hometown of Asheville, third class is in Atlanta. So we're going to be reaching out to other cities on the East Coast. Right now we're looking at New York and Philadelphia. And also Charleston, South Carolina. So be on the lookout for that. I would recommend that you sign up for the newsletter. You can just go to the portcityamps.com website and subscribe to the newsletter. That way you'll be up to date on everything. It's a really immersive experience. It's a lot of fun. It's safe. You're going to learn a ton. Everyone who's been through the class has had rave reviews and can't wait to do it again. So hopefully the people who listen to your podcasts can make it through the class, and we'll hopefully see them and make some new friends. So back to you, Joe.
Really awesome opportunity to get people into the tube boat, because digital technology is definitely happening, and it definitely has a place. I mean, I'm a fan of a lot of it, but I think the more people we can get wiring amps, especially stuff that they can really sink their teeth into and execute on a super high level, something that they can really be proud of, I think that's something that's truly special. And that's one of the best aspects of our amp classes, that we really put the passion in Port City into these builds, and we hope that other people can really feel the love and get excited about it.
So Daniel, tell me about this amp right here.
Yeah, so many years ago, I think it was 12 or 13, we had a client approach us and they wanted a modded JCM 800 Marshall. It was a 2203 circuit. And they wanted a couple of new features, and we made that and we brought it to a guitar show in Raleigh, 12 or 13 years ago. And there was a guy that played that there, and he said he'd never had gotten that sound out of his head. And so when we opened up the custom shop, the Port City Custom Shop last year, he reached out and said, hey, can you build me one of these? And that's exactly what we wanted to do in the custom shop. And so we built another one of these to his specs, and he wanted a slant 4x12 wave cabinet. So these are both one-off, and this is an aspect of the custom shop, is that we can really make things happen. Virtually anything you want, we can do. And this is just such a rock beast. It's gainy, it's chewy, it can do everything from, the David Grissom, crunch all the way to Alice in Chains and any 80s metal that you want. So it's a super cool amp, and we're really, really glad to be able to do things like that where we can really make our clients' dreams come true. It's got the effects loop, it's presence, and then it's also got a resonance mod on the back. We did attenuate the high frequencies by cutting the bright cap, and then we modded the tone stack to do what our client wanted it to do. So it's a pretty cool amp, and we're happy to do that. And I believe Laura was asking about our wave cabinets here. Our wave cabinets are really what put us on the map in many ways. And I was a professional musician for over a decade, and I used to go back and forth between open back cabinets and closed back cabinets. And I really liked the compression and the tightness of the 4x12s and the 2x12s with the closed back. But I noticed when I switched to an open back cabinet, it really had that breathy, airy feeling, and the speakers just were able to, they were just warmer to me. And so we were thinking about how we could capitalize on this. And so we came up with a wave cabinet. And what this does is it has internal sound deflecting panels on the inside. So this is our 1x12 OS. So we've got a sound deflecting panel here, another sound deflecting panel here, and then we have a ramped port that runs the width of the cabinet. So everything that's produced from the rear of the speaker is pushed back and then out through the front. And then kind of imagine Evel Knievel going off of a jump ramp. That's what those frequencies do. They pushed up here and they mix with the front frequencies of the speaker. So you really get the best of both worlds because it is closed back, but it's a circular breathing cabinet, and it really projects. So we have players that's, all genres, all styles using our wave cabinets. And it's been said that if you go from a standard cabinet to a wave cabinet, it's like going from standard television to high definition television. So if you haven't heard one for yourself, you should. And these are some of our pedals. This is the Salem Boost, 12 dB clean boost that adds just a hint of compression. This is our Sahana Drive, based off a TS9 style pedal, but with more gain, less compression, greater tone variance, and then we routed a little bit of the clean signal to the output, so you get a little bit more harmonic complexity there. And then this is our new Game of Thrones, which has the clean boost in this, but it also has a really defined high gain, saturated tone. So very, very cool. Definitely the highest gain thing we've ever really done. It's got a lot of treble. It's got a lot of variance between the 3-band EQ with the presence. So you can do a lot, you can stack them, and sounds great. We're really, really happy with that.